All right, everybody, we are continuing our coverage of the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Savannah Guthrie. I want to bring in Anna Schecter back. We just heard this press conference in Pima County from the sheriff and also from the FBI. We know the FBI is throwing everything at this as well. Some new information involving the timeline and who police have talked to. What did they reveal that stuck out to you?
Well, an Uber driver drove Nancy Guthrie to her daughter's home around 5:30, and so they've interviewed that Uber driver. That was some new information. They also talked about the people who work at the home taking care of the pool and the garden. Those people were interviewed. They have such a wide net because they haven't zeroed in on anyone. So this is really difficult. They were saying essentially no one is a suspect, and so they have to operate like everyone is a suspect.
And the information, obviously, that is very chilling for all of us, although it is all chilling, is this ransom note that they're taking seriously that was given to other media that the family was notified about earlier in the week. And it includes a monetary demand and a deadline of 5 p.m. tonight.
That's right. And that is key. And I think that is likely why they went out publicly last night with that family video, because the deadline was fast approaching. It was the night before the deadline. So the other thing the sheriff said is if this deadline isn't met at 5 p.m., there would be a second deadline a few days later. But that has got to be heart-wrenching for the family.
Is it also strange, though, that there's been no contact if the deadline is mere hours away?
It just doesn't look good for the investigation. Usually you would have that in these types of cases, generally speaking, if that person is really dead set on getting a monetary reward for the release of the kidnappee, they are engaging in this conversation and maybe making it difficult for the FBI, but they want to manipulate the situation so that they come out with money. And so the fact that that communication is not happening is distressing for the investigators, I am sure, because it's just not a good sign.
All right, I want to go ahead and bring in retired LAPD Police Sergeant Marlon Marrache, who recently retired after 24 years as a sergeant with the LAPD. I want to talk to you about the pressure that authorities are under given that deadline tonight.
A lot of pressure. Time is of the essence. And from watching in this press conference, you really can see how heartbreaking this whole situation is. And we're going to see about this ransom note at 5 p.m., what the next steps are. But just know that from a law enforcement perspective, all hands are on deck. The FBI is involved. So you need as many resources as possible to be able to continue to canvass the area and do as much investigation that you can.
So it looks like authorities also are zeroing in on this time frame between 1:47 a.m. early Sunday morning and 2:28 a.m. This is when there was that doorbell camera that was disconnected. Activity was noticed on other cameras. How are they going to hone in on that window of time and find out exactly what happened in those minutes?
A very good question. What I would say, it's like your colleague was mentioning about a forced entry. It seems as though it might be someone that doesn't know Nancy in particular. However, if it was unforced entry, then it's someone that you probably knows. But in these type of cases, these investigations, whenever there's critical missings, it seems as though that sometimes they have worked up the location before. In other words, there has been some focus, considering, living in this house that's out in the desert area, there's probably been some work up prior to making this unfortunate, tragic incident happen.
Okay, thank you so much, Sergeant. We appreciate your time. And just to recap, everybody, we have just heard an update from Pima County officials and the FBI in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, now in its 5th day. We are hours away from a deadline in a ransom note that several media outlets received that authorities are taking seriously, that demands a monetary transfer by 5 p.m. tonight. We also know that if that deadline isn't made today, another deadline is on Monday. We learned that blood found near that front door did come back as belonging to Nancy. We have a much more precise timeline on the events leading up to her disappearance. We have a $50,000 reward in this case, and We know that that ransom note included information about an Apple Watch, about a floodlight, in addition to the demands, and that disgustingly people are trying to take advantage and make imposter ransom notes that authorities now have to spend time and resources investigating.